Hey everybody. Thanks for popping in here. Happy what is today? Tuesday? I don't even remember now. I'm sorry for my appearance. I have the stomach flu and I'm feeling really run down. But wanted to hop on here because we've got a missing toddler and we got to talk about this. Bear with me just a moment while I grab a couple things and we will go into all this. Okay, so the case of Genesis Nova Reid took part over this weekend. So this is where it all started. She's an active missing child case out of Enterprise, Alabama, and on February 16th, which would have been yesterday. Um, and as of today, the search is still ongoing. So the puzzling thing is her mother, Adrienne Reid, has given completely contradictory statements about where this child is, not only to the police, but to neighbors, to other people who are concerned about where this child is. Um, and the neighbors are thinking it's foul play because when one neighbor asked her on Valentine's Day where Genesis was, she said, I don't know. And then you've got people making reports that she was seen burning things from behind the apartment complex. There's been a massive search going on for this child into the woods, which surrounds the apartment complex. And out there, they found the child's baby mattress. And some are saying there was blood on it. I don't know. I can't confirm that. Um, but they have not found Genesis, and that is a huge problem. Um, so go ahead and please share this information because we need to know where this kid is. So her name is Genesis Nova Reid. She's 2. People have been saying she's 3, but she's actually 2. She'll be turning 3 in a few weeks. And she's a black child, approximately 2 feet 5 inches, weighing about 30 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair. Now, according to Adrian, she was last seen wearing a pink Minnie Mouse pajamas, top and bottoms. But here's the thing that's concerning. There's no one who's actually laid eyes on this kid since like January 8th. So that's a huge problem. And the neighbors have described her as an outgoing toddler, very friendly, and often seen playing, walking with her mother in the community. So here's the timeline of events. We've got February 15th, which was Sunday. Genesis was last seen by her mother, Adrienne Reid, around 8 p.m. in her bed at their apartment at 201 Apache Drive, Meadowbrook Apartments in Enterprise, Alabama. Valentine's Day, a neighbor, Tyler McGowan, asked Adrienne Reid about Genesis' whereabouts. Now, the mother reportedly replied that she didn't know. Another neighbor mentioned casually asking about the child on Saturday, likely the 14th of February, but Adrienne evaded the question. It's very odd. I'm sorry. Here's the thing, when you have a toddler, especially you only have one toddler, like one child to get with, um, you're always talking about your kids. I was that mom. I was always talking about my kids when they were toddlers because that's when they're the most expressive, most energetic. This is what they do, especially if they're 2. There's always stories. So, um, now we get into early morning Monday, February 16th. Around 3 a.m., Adrienne Reid reported Genesis missing to the Enterprise Police Department. She claimed she woke to find the child's bed empty and the front door of the apartment open. Now, suggesting the toddler may have wandered out on her own. So, a be on the lookout, a BOLO alert was issued that afternoon stating the child could be in danger, which, duh, it's a 2-year-old. Of course, they could be in danger if they're out wandering alone. Um, pardon me. A press conference was held where authorities included Enterprise Police Department Captain Billy Haglund, District Attorney James Tarbox, and Coffee County Sheriff Scott Bird appealed to the public for help. They specifically requested information from anyone who had seen Genesis in the past 30 days without confirming or denying the mother's timeline. Now we get into yesterday evening. Adrienne Reid was detained by police headquarters for questioning. Now, it's unclear if was released that night, but reports indicate that she's being held for safety reasons and has not been charged. Additional FBI agents arrived to assist. So the FBI is now involved helping with this case. And then we get into today, and the search has entered its second day. Now, investigators, including FBI agents, were seen entering the apartment with evidence bags. Unconfirmed neighbor reports mentioned a bloodstained mattress and a car seat found in nearby woods. Now, I will say this yesterday, people were posting live footage because they did a massive community search. Like everybody in the community was together and they went into those woods and they were searching. So sorry. I apologize. Um, but they had gone out there looking, and I did see the video footage of when they came upon that mattress, and it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. But to confirm it's Genesis mattress, that I don't know, but people were very upset. They found a car seat, no child. It doesn't look good. Um, Now, police expressed confidence in resolving the case soon, but declined to organize public search parties, stating they would focus on specific places. So has nothing to do with the police. These are the neighbors and concerned family members that are doing this. Neighbors consistently report not seeing Genesis for several weeks or since early January, like around Christmas, contradicting the mother's claim of seeing her the night before the report. Now, one neighbor noted that Genesis and her mother had stopped their usual walks around the complex. Now, with all I mean, that could be unusual. I don't know what the weather in Alabama has been. I'm in North Carolina, and, that snowstorm we've had, the cold, chronic cold we've had since basically, like, mid-January through, the beginning parts of February, they may not have gone out to go walking. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to defend this woman, but just because they didn't go walking like their usual jaunts does not mean that anything nefarious has happened before this. But we'll get to my actual opinion of what I think has happened in a moment. So, Adrienne Reid, she's a single mother, and she's the one who reported the disappearance. She has been questioned extensively, but not accused of any wrongdoing, which it's a little early in the game for the cops to have accused her of anything yet. Speculation centers on her potentially lying about the timeline, and police have not dispelled the rumors. And reports allege she is not being cooperative, and that is true. That came out yesterday. Now, the child's father, drove 3 hours to the scene on February 16th, expressing frustration and demanding answers about his daughter's whereabouts. I would like to know how involved he truly is in this kid's life, because if he drove 3 hours to get there, is he like an every other weekend kinda guy, or is he not casting aspersions on him, but I would like to know to get a better picture of the family dynamic. I would like to know how much he actually saw his daughter. Um, Now there's the grandmother, Vivian Reid. Now, she urged the public to come forward, emphasizing that Genesis was not given willingly. So, what does that mean? Does that mean that she was kidnapped? Or does that mean that, somebody held a gun to Adrian's head and said, "Give me the kid"? What's going on there? And then this also came out, person of interest, a woman named Mariah. No last name is known. Police are seeking this Black woman with ties to Ozark, Alabama, who frequents the Level Plains area for questioning in connection to the case. So, one of the stories that Adrian has now given to the police that has come out is that she gave Genesis to this person named Mariah. Now, I've heard stories like this before, and we'll get to that here in a second. So the Enterprise Police Department is the lead investigator on this case. Coffee County Sheriff's Office, Alabama State Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI are assisting with the searches and the evidence collection. Large-scale search of the Apache Drive area, including wooded regions, began immediately, and no public volunteers are being requested at this time, as police are focusing on targeted areas based on undisclosed leads. The FBI joined yesterday. So they are trying to establish an accurate timeline here. This is what they're trying to do, you know? as authorities believe Genesis may have been missing up to 30 days, which is why they're asking, "Hey, anybody in the last 30 days, come forward and let us know if you've seen her." Because, like I said, the last confirmed sighting by somebody outside of that apartment is the apartment complex, management office, and they saw the child then on January 8th. So, and Captain Billy Haglund stated, "Investigators are leaving no stone unturned." And then you've got, public appeals, and no Amber Alert has been issued, um, because they don't know what the circumstance is. Was she taken? Did she wander off? Has she been gone longer than, like, 48 hours? What is going on? Now, of course, now we gotta get into the rumors, police are urging tips from anyone, or actually, well, we already know that, but, online and neighbor discussions include unverified claims of foul play, a boyfriend's involvement, or the mother covering up an earlier incident. Police have not confirmed these, but have not denied the possibility that the mother's story is inaccurate. And I have seen all kinds of online speculation as to what's going on with this. But if you want to help or you have any information about this case, you can call Enterprise Police Department at 334-347-2222 or your local law enforcement agency, but do not approach anyone involved and report tips directly to the authorities. Okay, so here's my thought. Single mom, and this seems to be a more common occurrence here of the last decade, and I don't know why this is. We got a single mom with a toddler, and she's pretty. Look at the mom, she's pretty. Probably very young, probably doesn't wanna be saddled down with a kid, and probably got very frustrated that maybe dad wasn't involved as much as he should be, and per her guidelines. I don't know. But you're seeing more and more of young women, and not saying that this is what Adrian Reid has done, okay? But you're seeing more and more young women that are committing, child murder because they're ticked off because the dad of said child is not around, and this is absolutely insane, and I mean, I have 3 kids myself, they're all grown, they're all in their 20s. It was not easy raising them with a husband. 'Cause my husband did everything. Oh my god, that man. He was around, but he was not a disciplinarian, he was not one to enforce rules. So, we were constantly combating each other on on structure with our own kids. And, you know, it's not easy raising children, it's not. In this day and age, it really is not. But if you're a party girl and you get pregnant, don't try to settle that man down by having that kid. I'm not saying get an abortion, but there are other options out there, you know? But don't have a kid just to get some guy to stay with you, because it doesn't work like that, okay? It just doesn't work like that. And then these children are stuck in a position where they are having to pay for mom and dad's poor decision making, you know? But like I said, I'm not saying that's what has happened in this situation, but it would not surprise me if something nefarious has happened, this child is no longer alive, and Adrian Reed is the one who did it. Just take the fact that the father lives 3 hours away, just take the fact that, no one has seen this kid in almost a month, not verifiably has seen this kid in a month so far, and she keeps changing her story, like, avoiding when people ask her where the baby is, and she's just changing the topic. And she's given the police multiple different scenarios. There was another case, this happened, I guess, 20 years ago now. Gabriel Johnson, same situation. Mother, ran off with the baby, and she says she gave him to a couple, but won't tell them who they are and won't say anything. And the father has been looking for a son for the last almost 20 years. And the mother has been in jail but refuses to speak. So no one really knows that this child is alive or dead, but they keep looking for him, you know? And if she gave him to a childless couple, they're not gonna confess and say, "Here's the baby." They're not gonna do that. But, I don't know. It sounds like this is what she's doing here, is saying, "Oh, somebody named Mariah has her." If you remember, Casey Anthony did the same thing. swore up and down that her, daughter was kidnapped was given to a babysitter, and the babysitter ran off with the child, and then you found out she was dead in the backyard, you know? And then you have what is it's another one, Evelyn Boswell, same thing. Her mother claimed that the child was given to somebody and, babysitter ran off, and then you found her dead in the woods on on the child's grandfather's property. So and that's just been here in the last 4 or 5 years, you know? But everybody remembers Casey Anthony. I mean, that's gonna be synonymous with this, but, I mean, this you're hearing this more and more and more. Um, Oakley what was her name? Another child, Oakley, I can't remember her last name. She was 5, and the father kept telling the social worker that the child was with the mother, and the mother was in rehab. The mother was like, "No, she's with the dad." Nobody had seen that kid for a year before people started looking. We had too many of these cases, and it's absolutely sad, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. You know, you have children, you raise your children. You should know in yourself once you get pregnant whether or not you can handle something like this, you know, and if you can't, you have options to exercise your options. But do not have a child to just to land a guy. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, this is not the 1950s, 1960s where people got pregnant and got married because they were pregnant, you know? That doesn't happen anymore. So, that's all I'm saying. And like I said, I don't know if this is the situation with Adrian Reid, with her child, I have no idea, but it doesn't look good. The fact that they found the baby mattress, the fact that they found a car seat, the fact that the neighbors are ratting her ass out, saying she's been acting weird for a while and no one has seen this kid, it does not bode well. Of all the scenarios, I hope to God she has given that child to somebody, like, "Here, take her, I can't raise her." I hope that is the scenario because that means that child is alive. In the other scenario, that child is most likely dead. And that's a darling little girl. I don't know why anybody would wanna hurt her. But looking at this picture of the mother, I see a very selfish human being right there. Because when you have kids, you give up everything. You give up your world, you know, your dreams to raise your children because it's not about you anymore, it's about them. And I think that's one thing that the young people of today who just go and have kids just to have kids, I think that's what they're forgetting. I think they're forgetting that a lot. Okay, well, you all have the information about Genesis Reed and what she looks like and what she was last wearing, supposedly. Again, all that is conjecture because this is what the mom is saying, and I don't know if it's the truth. Police don't even know it's the truth, but they're looking for someone named Mariah. So, Mariah, come forward, please, and let people know that this child's okay if you have her. So, this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. I'm going to hop off here. You all have a wonderful day. And if you get the stomach bug, I pray for you because it's awful. So, bye, everybody.